Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP. And I wanted to talk about Aurora's new album, What Happened to the Heart. Aurora is my favorite singer, and she happens to be an INFP. Now, Florence and the Machine is also my favorite singer, and she's also an INFP. But, Florence Welch and Aurora Axness, I think is her name. Aurora has made really good albums, and so it's hard to top her latest album. I think that, we have our preferences over which albums are the best from our favorite singers. For me, Infections of a Different Kind Part 2 was Step 2. It was some of her best songs out there. But I really liked her last album, The Gods We Can Touch. This one is a little bit stranger in a way, but it's more of a mature album, you could say. And it is a very INFP album in the fact that it's called What Happened to the Heart. And it is about feelings and about how feelings are more important than the mind, kind of. It is also about protecting the planet, because she is actually talking about the earth is our heart in a way. But actually she's also made an you could interpret her songs in many different ways. She also talks about the war, basically as the war in Gaza, and in general, that's life. The world is not going too well right now in 2024. But she doesn't mention any of these political things by name. It's more like she suggests them vaguely through the lyrics in her songs. I've now listened to the album in full twice, and I've listened to the singles a few times before the album came out. So I still don't really understand the lyrics to a lot of these songs. Sometimes it takes me years before I understand the lyrics of some of the songs that she's written. I'm not very smart when it comes to lyrics. Sometimes I don't understand what they're about, and I don't usually listen to lyrics when I listen to songs. It's mostly the production for me, and the way that the sounds make me feel, rather than the words that are being said. Unless it's the chorus, in the chorus, you can hear the lyrics better in general. It just, I have auditory processing problems, okay? So that's why I might not be able to actually tell you what the lyrics mean to any of these songs. But I was sitting, I met up with my ISFJ best friend, and we celebrated that it has been 5 years since we graduated med school. And we had a good time, and so I told him we need to listen to Aurora's album because, well, he has a TV and good speakers to listen to music. He often listens to pretty much mainstream stuff. Dance music is his kind of thing. But he does know Aurora, and so we listened through the album, and yeah, so it's about the body, but it's also about the heart. I am confused. I thought that she would make one song per part of the body, which would have been a really cool idea in my mind. She has one song about blood, sometimes a song about skin, a song about the conflict of the mind. but it's not really that approach that she wanted to take. She wanted to more, it seems like she wanted to focus on the heart, and the heart in all of its forms. So the heart is like the source of your emotions, which, you know, it isn't anatomically, but symbolically it is. And the heart is like the source of life, the pumping of blood, the deep gory aspects of it, while also being the delicate heart. And I find that pretty interesting. Now, from all the songs, the one that me and my ISFJ friend most connected to was actually not a song about emotions, but you can read it as that. It's some type of skin. And it's actually a bit about the war in Gaza and about peace. But you can also read it in a different way. And one of the lyrics that I like is, "We're good people and we deserve peace." And yeah, why would we tell ourselves that we're bad people if we, you know, we are good people and we deserve peace? And I think that that is very true. And she talks about like she needs some kind of skin in order to deal with the world in a way. But she talks about the heart being more than a muscle. It's a fist covered in blood. I don't know, it was really, I like that it's pretty simple in appearance, but it's pretty complex in terms of the different meanings that you can assign to it. So that one was our favorite on that album. I had listened to the other singles, Your Blood and The Conflict of the Mind. I don't know what The Conflict of the Mind is about. If it's about like people dying and loss, or if it's about a lover and having a conflict between brain and heart kind of thing. Strange. There are most of her songs I don't know. I don't know what The Echo of My Shadow means. I don't know. To Be Alright is kind of, it's a song where she says like she wishes that she knew what it was like to be alright, pretty much, like other people are. And I'm thinking like maybe it's a little bit of a Greta Thunberg kind of situation where Greta Thunberg is like, can't you see the problems in the world? And everybody is just turning a blind eye to it and being alright, you know, but to the people who actually have their eyes open to the suffering of the world, it's hard to be alright, you know. And so I thought that that was also a good message. All of her songs are great, and there is a certain flavor to the way that she sings that is particular to her, which I really liked. There were some parts of the album that sounded a little bit like Florence and the Machine, which was great. Some of it which sounded a bit like Billie Eilish, which was also kind of weird. In that, you know, you wouldn't think that they're in the same horizon, but they are. And some of it which was like synth pop, dubstep. There was some Irish music, some folkloric kind of stuff, especially in the one called Soul with No King, which was very Irish Celtic stuff, which I really love. I don't know what it's about, but I really like that. And there is a very deep, dark undertone in some of these songs, like Starvation and When the Dark Dresses Lightly. And it's a little bit like holding you on your toes throughout this whole album. Because well, some of these are like kind of shouty and angry. Some of them are really deep and dark. And some of them are like light. And some of them are about making you gives you energy to keep on living. She talks a lot about like, I refuse to die. And she's like, I want to keep on living, you know, and we need to keep giving into the feeling. We need to, a little bit like Carly Rae Jepsen, like, I want to cut to the feeling, you know, like, we need to feel. It's okay to feel, but it's okay to then move on. You know, it's good to move on, but it's also okay to feel, even if it won't be the case later. And that is very INFP of her, so thank you, Aurora. Then she talks about that she's together with Anna Brun. Anna Brun is just her voice is so beautiful. I love Anna Brun. My Name, which is about how the last thing that disappears when you die is going to be your name, which is a thing. Do You Feel? Very INFP. But then she has a song called Dreams, which is basically like as if you were floating in a dream. So very weird, eclectic mix out there of what these... Then she has a song called The Blade. Like in her music videos, she basically has like a sword and a heart, and she's basically like licking the sword and licking the heart that is, you know, bloody. So it's a little bit, you know, but I don't know what she's going for, but I like it, you know. Then she has a song that's called My Body Is Not Mine, which kind of is like antithetical to all the rest of the album, which is talking about how the body is, she is her body. But then she's like, my body is not mine. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then she has a song called Invisible Wounds, where she talks about mending her wounds. And this album, unfortunately, Aurora releasing her new album has made me think of my very deep friendship with my ex-INFJ friend. And it is a lot, because I think I'm the kind of person who will take years before I heal from certain wounds. And I did go a little bit through my experience with my INFJ friend. I talked to my ISFJ friend about it because, well, they'd met. And I think it was good to get an outside perspective. I hadn't been, or outside, at least like another perspective about that relationship that I had. Because I was trying to do this all on my own, you know, to get over it, you know, on my own, to not hurt anybody else in the process. But I did need to, and I have talked to my therapist about this whole situation, but the thing is, I needed to talk to somebody who has actually met my INFJ friend to know how he is. So it was good that I got to go through that. The reason that we started talking about my problems was actually because of my ISFJ having a hard time with things. And, you know, ISFJs rarely talk about what is difficult for them. You know, they want to be strong for everybody else, and I think that they forget that they have needs too. And he just broke up with a date he was having, and he felt really selfish for not being as into this person as this person was into him. My friend was pretty sad and feeling guilty about being mean somehow, for not being into it. My friend is a doctor himself, and so it is quite difficult for other people to understand that kind of life, because my friend sometimes works nights, And it felt like this date did not understand how he could work night shifts, or understand that a huge part of my friend's life is his work, just like me. A huge part of my life is my work. If I was together with somebody who did not understand why I was putting so much energy into my work, then I wouldn't be able to be with that person. You know, a lot of people can treat their jobs as like a side thing, you know, a thing that just pays the bills. But being a doctor, it's kind of a big part of your life. So it is very difficult dating because, and that's why so many doctors end up marrying other doctors or nurses or something, because it is so hard to reconcile a career and love. And so, but so my friend was feeling like he was a bad person, that he was scared of intimacy, all of these kinds of things, you know, that he was rejecting somebody else so that the other person would reject him first. You know, all of these kinds of insecurities that, you know, a lot of people have, most people have. And it did calm him down a little bit that I told him that this is a pretty common problem to have, because he thought that it was an individual problem that he could have. But you know, listening to Aurora, he was feeling near tears too. I was feeling near tears and he was near tears. And that's the power of music, you know. It brings out things from people. And my friend rarely talks about his personal problems. And yes, I won't go into more detail because this is the internet, you know. And I want to him to feel comfortable with sharing his problems with me. But I think that it is an important subject that Aurora is taking in this album, and it is that we can't be scared of feeling our feelings, but we need to be able to acknowledge the feelings and then live and refuse to give in to like this robotic world that we live in, and keep feeling, keep having a heart, keep being the humans that we are. You know, we are flesh and blood. We are not just a walking brain. You know, we have feelings, and that is beautiful, and we need to appreciate that. And even though it hurts, even though there are like invisible wounds, like in her album, even though there's the blade that goes right into your heart sometimes, and like sometimes twists in, we need to, you know, there's one of her songs, I forget which one it was, where she talks about how she's like, I shouldn't have held back. I should have just said what I felt. And yeah, and then also in the conflict of mind, she says that when people around her are hurting, her heart, and that they, like, when they tell her about their problems to her, her heart breaks, but it feels and it breaks, you know, because it is such a beautiful, intimate moment to be able to have friends open up to you, to have people you love share their difficulties and their love, but it also breaks your heart at the same time, you know. So it fills your heart and it breaks it, and I think that is how I feel. when I am talking to someone who is going through a lot of hurt and they are willing to open themselves up to me, and I can be there and my heart can break for them, but there's also another feeling there, which is my heart is filling up. I'm feeling life right there. And I found that I hadn't heard that in any other song. But this album was kind of giving me those kinds of vibes. And it was an interesting album. It doesn't really make much sense all put together. But it isn't explainable because it is just feelings. And you really need to just listen to the album because a lot of it is basically a very eclectic mix of sounds. And if you think that you know Aurora, like, you actually don't. There is always something new in each album. It feels like, wait, this isn't at all what we thought Aurora was. And then, like, she surprises us with something new. This happened in the last album too, where the first single that she came out after Infections of a Different Kind, before the Gods We Can Touch, was Cure for Me. Or she did Exist for Love, which was slower and less folkloric. And we were like, what is this? You know, this doesn't sound like Aurora. And then she did Cure for Me, which did not at all sound like Aurora because it was just like silly and fun. And we hadn't seen that part of her yet. And I think it's really nice that you can see all of these different, seemingly paradoxical parts of her in every album. And I think that is a lot how being an INFP is about having these paradoxical feelings and selves, and that all of these parts are you know. But being able to play around with those things, like if I were a singer, which, you know, I'm not a singer and I never will be, but if I were a singer, I would strive to do what Aurora does, you know, because to me this is the highest form of art. But you know, there are some people who think that this sort of thing is art or this other thing is art, but to me what she does is the highest, like the most human thing that you can do. You can accumulate, you can put these sounds together and make it sound beautiful and stunning and make you think deeply about things, and at the same time that you enjoy it and makes you want to live. And so that is where I'm going to end this video on, because I think that that's what she would want us to take from her albums, is all of her music, is that we need to find joy and live. And yeah, and it's just, the world is magical. And so I encourage everybody to listen to Aurora's new album, and like really listen to it a few times, because like I cannot understand it even though I've listened to it twice now, plus a few songs again and again. But so it's What Happened to the Heart by Aurora, and just check out Aurora's things, especially if you're an INFP, because she is really good at what she does. So have a great day, everybody.